This is Andy Metz, and you're listening to the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast.
Hey, this is Chris Dever, and you're listening to episode 11 of the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast. I'm here with Andy Metz. Andy, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. So this is kind of a unique episode in that Andy is the first guest I've had that I haven't previously met. How did you hear about the podcast?
How did I hear about the podcast? That's a good question. I think, I believe I heard it through Paul Ramirez. I think when he was on it, I'm pretty sure I've liked his music page. And so I listened to him on the podcast. He sounded great. I liked the podcast a lot. And so I shot you an email to hopefully be on it myself.
And it worked out, and here you are. Thanks for coming out. You came from Logan Square.
Yep. Yeah, we're in West Logan Square, and it's somewhat like this neighborhood, but it's it's nice.
And I found out before we started recording that Andy used to live just a couple blocks away from here, over on 18th and Wood.
That's right, and we just found out that the building was sold, and it was like the classic case of like Pilsen gentrification. Like just after we left, and now I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm sure the rent is going to like skyrocket.
Put a fresh coat of paint on it and double the rent. So what made you go from Pilsen out to Logan Square?
Well, at first it was Pilsen to Wicker Park and then to Logan Square. And I think I liked Pilsen, but if there's one fault of it, I think it doesn't have a whole lot of green space. And at the time, there weren't that many places for us to go out where we were at night. So for that reason, we went with Wicker Park, then kind of got pushed out of Wicker Park. And so Logan Square's worked, and now we don't really actually go out that much. But it's been good for our dog, so that's been nice.
And the we you're referring to is you and your wife.
Right. Yeah, at some point in there, we got married.
And how's that been so far?
Good. It's we've been married for 5 months ish, and it's been nice. It seemed. It hasn't been that different because we lived together for a long time, but it's nice to have like that extra like security kind of.
Sure. Yeah. How long have you been playing music?
I started taking piano lessons at probably like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and started recording on my computer at about 15. And ever since, I wrote songs before that, but really, once I was able to actually like put it to something, I really recorded as much as I could for a long period of time.
Yeah, I had a similar experience where I kind of noodled around with guitar for a while in like high school and stuff, but never really got into songwriting until I started recording. And I always attributed it to being able to see the song laid out on a screen, where it made more sense in my mind instead of just playing other people's songs or just noodling around for hours.
Oh, absolutely. And the part I liked about it too was when you're writing a song, you can have one vision in your head, but once you're actually like recording track after track and you realize these vocal harmonies make the song sound totally different, and then it's by the time you've finished, you have a totally different beast on your hands. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I've liked doing that.
Did you grow up in Chicago?
No, I grew up in Seattle.
I was going to say, because you have a Washington number that popped up.
Ah, yes, that's right. 206. I grew up there. My parents are actually from Chicago, so I kind of just came back. I have a lot of family here, and I went to college here at DePaul and also at UIC. And stayed.
When did you move back to Chicago?
2004.
So you were already a musician. Did you jump into the music scene when you came into Chicago?
No. I was a musician and definitely doing home recordings, but I wasn't... I didn't really start doing open mics till maybe 2006 or beginning of 2007, and then kind of took it from there. But I wasn't really... I'd done a couple performances in Seattle, but nothing regular.
And what was the open mic scene like when you came to Chicago?
I was in Lincoln Park at DePaul And so I would go to open mics at Lucille's on Lincoln. I don't think the place exists anymore.
I think I remember Lucille's. I think I used to go there.
Yeah.
Just a little like kind of dive bar, right?
Yeah, just like your normal like one what would they call it? One lot size Chicago bar.
Yeah.
Narrow and pretty standard, and but the group running the open mic there they were a nice group of people, and so that's pretty much how I got my start. For the first year I was performing, I was doing open mics there every other week or so.
And now fast forward to 2015, you're performing regularly.
Yeah, I haven't last couple of months I haven't performed that much, but yeah, my rock group, which is Hero Monster Zero, we try to do about a gig a month, but have been a little bit less. Our bassist is going to school in Wisconsin, so that makes it tough. But yeah, we've got a gig at the Beat Kitchen next month, and then I have my hip hop group, which is 8090, and sometimes we perform live with the band. And then I do acoustic stuff myself as well. When I basically can't find a gig for my band, I'll get something for myself.
Where have you played in the last year?
Let's see. Our band has played... The last year we played at the Metro twice. Cubby Bear, Goose Island, Elbow Room. And then we're going to play, Beat Kitchen for the first time, which I've been trying to get that place for a while. And I'm trying to think where else. We have a tendency to play at places that close soon after, like Ultra Lounge, which used to be right by the Congress Theater, which also closed. And Stage Bar, which was on the far northwest side, that also closed. We're going for some suburban venues, but have not had a whole lot of luck in booking those.
And you do all the booking yourself?
Yes. Which I don't like doing. I've realized over time it's exhausting.
It's kind of the less glamorous part of being in a band.
I always feel like I'm not really sure like how to even like write an email for that. Like I have like a template for it and it works for some places, but I don't know if I'm like missing like some aspect that other venues are saying, oh, we're not booking them. But I don't know. Yeah, suburban venues are tough. They seem to book out more in advance than we usually do and really favor cover bands.
Yeah, I would think that they're more so just getting people in the door and having some background music for people to kind of, keep them drinking basically. But I would imagine they pay more.
I would think so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have enough covers in our arsenal to probably pretend we're a cover band, but I don't think that's really what we're going for.
So when you book your solo shows, are you opening for people or are you the main act?
I've done kind of smaller shows where I'm usually like one of two acts. That's the last thing I did was at Uncommon Ground on Clark, and I played with Nate Z, and he booked that one, which was great. And he's a great musician. It was fun to be a part of that night. But usually, I've opened for Jeff Brown and the New Black, and then there was supposed to be a touring band after them that they were opening for, but they like never showed up. That was at Main Stage about a year ago. So that's another really fun venue. I love playing there.
That was the one where the YouTube clips were from.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I would definitely open for groups, but I don't really have like a standard way of doing it.
Do you have a fan base, people that come out besides friends and family that are coming to your shows, either solo or with either of your groups?
Not really. I mean, I guess there's a few people here and there, but like I would never say I could draw on a weekday myself. Like that I know is like not happening. So I'll do like little gigs here and there at Bootleggers, for example, on like Division in that kind of Viagra Triangle area. But that's like more of like an entertainment thing, and it's like a really cover heavy set. So that's like an example of people being there to listen to music, not necessarily for me. But Yeah, I mean, I'm working on doing some solo recordings though, so hopefully I can like start pushing that a little bit more.
You're pretty busy. I mean, you've got a lot going on. I mean, you work full time in the West Loop.
Right.
You've got a band, a hip hop project, solo project, new marriage.
Yeah.
How do you balance all that?
Not that well, I guess. No, I don't know. Yeah, something always has to give. I guess, if I'm focusing on the band, I'm probably doing a little bit less with the hip hop. So those are kind of like a little bit cyclical. And then, yeah, the acoustic stuff is like now is the first time in a long time that I've done just solo recordings. So, probably whenever I release that, maybe in the early fall, I'll focus on that a little bit. Maybe put the other stuff on the back burner. But, yeah, no, it's not easy.
Well, let's listen to one of your solo songs. The first one you're going to play for us tonight is called Where We Belong.
1, 2, 3, 4. Eyes fixated on the door. I know I said this all before. Oh, the city's cold and leaves me dry. So will you come with me so we can say goodbye? And no, I don't know where we belong, but I always thought that we could take it on. Oh, and mercy, 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 mercy me. Through it all, I would never change a thing. The road is long and I am lost. Should we head off west, east, or north? And if the South should call my name, can we heed its word or settle in the flames? And no, I don't know where we belong, but I always thought that we could take it on. Oh, and mercy, 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 mercy me. Through it all, I would never change a thing. All through it all, I would never change a thing. And if our minds are close to change, where we're going if we're staying, we've no plans, no demands. Let's take off and settle when the world is sick of us. And no, I don't know where we belong, but I always thought that we could take it on. Oh, and mercy, 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 mercy me. Through it all, I would never change a thing. All through it all, I would never change a thing. All through it all, I would never change a thing. It's a song I wrote probably about 3 years ago, and I meant to record it. And I've gotten most of the recording done, and it's definitely like a full. We have drums and bass and everything on the recording. This is just the acoustic version, but I feel like it's, I don't know, it kind of represents a new-ish songwriting style for me that I've developed a little more in the last few years.
The line, mercy, mercy, mercy me, through it all, I wouldn't change a thing. Was the song written for your girlfriend at the time, now your wife?
I don't know if it was like consciously, maybe a little bit. I think sort of everything ends up being a little bit that way sometimes. Some songs more like blatantly than not. I guess that one is a little bit. Not so much those two lines as some of the ones preceding it, because the song is a little bit like kind of feeling stuck in a spot and does it make sense to move. And that is something like we have actually talked about. So yeah, I would say it's a little bit based in that, and it's definitely based on our lives together.
Mm-hmm. Do you write a lot of autobiographical stuff?
Oh, probably more than I know. Stuff I like realize later. I don't intentionally write too much. Maybe half of the songs are kind of autobiographical. I also like doing like kind of story writing songs of like fictional characters. That makes up a lot of what I write as well.
I always find when I do that, the fictional characters end up resembling me.
Right.
More so than like the stuff where I'm like writing in the first person.
Exactly.
And like I don't see it until afterwards where it's like, oh shit, like I just told my story. Like that was way too personal. Hopefully nobody picks up on it. Secret's out now.
No, it's about somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it.
This song, I mean, I listened to it once earlier today, and when you played it again tonight, I recognized it right away. It's got a very pop sound to it, very accessible. Mm-hmm. It made me think the first song I thought of was the song Riptide by Vance Joy, if you're familiar, but
I'm not.
Look it up, you'll be like, oh man, it sounds, and not like you ripped it off or anything, but just
you're
like
saying I ripped this off.
It has like a very similar feel where it's like a fun, like summery kind of like, just a fun song, a poppy song. Mm-hmm. Does that lend itself? Do you write that way more so because you're playing with a band now, or have you kind of always written?
I think I've pretty much always written that way. I frequently write the chorus first, which I don't know if that's a normal way to do it or not. I certainly do that with hip hop, and I do that less so with the band, I think, because we usually put the groove down first, and then I write lyrics over it. But usually I go with just an idea I have, humming in my head, and then kind of deconstruct it from there. I guess I would say, like, to me, because I'm writing chorus first, I feel like in my writing, the chorus is usually the most important thing. And I definitely want it. I want it to be that way, even if it sounds like more poppy than maybe the message of the song. I still want it to like resonate as a song, not be just. I mean, I want the listener to feel like they want to listen to it again because they have it stuck in their head.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, this song in particular definitely has that. Let's listen to the next song you played tonight. This one's called I Might Break.
I could sit here paralyzed and turn to stone. I still get jealous of success that ain't my own. And you could say I may have softened, but I swear it's just a front, and you'll see. And as I've aged, as I've aged, it's turned to rage. That ain't been better since the decade turned the page. And now the strands of grass are thinning. With the hair atop my head, I can't breathe. And I might break. Oh, but I told you I was broken from the start. And I could share my every hatred till your eyes could see my red. But I couldn't stand to drag you down that far. Now the panic weighs so heavy on my chest, till it wraps around and hugs me like a vest. And I can't even drive a car, I can barely seem to walk, and it hurts. And I'm so blind and I'm so deaf among my thoughts, I can't settle long enough to turn them off. And if I start to hear the voices, maybe then you'll know it's true, you'll know first. and I might break. Oh, but I told you I was broken from the start, and I could share my every hatred till your eyes could see my red, but I couldn't stand to drag you down that far. And I might break. Oh, but I told you I was broken from the start, and I could share my every hatred till your eyes could see my red, but I couldn't stand to drag you down that far. And I might break. Oh, but I told you I was broken from the start, and I could share my every hatred till your eyes could see my red, but I couldn't stand to drag you down that far. No, I couldn't stand to drag you down that far.
This is another one that's going to be off my upcoming album when that's released. And I've got Sarah Blick of Led Astray to play the strings on the recorded version. And that adds like a new element to the song that's really nice. It's still stripped down, but and this recording is really stripped down. But yeah, I don't know. This was one of those songs where I was actually just noodling on the guitar first before I wrote down the lyrics, and then the lyrics just kind of came. And I don't know if they say like a really like cohesive story exactly, but I like the way they ended up fitting in.
With the way that you fingerpick this one, it's real basic. Like there's a lot of space in there.
Yeah.
Are you hearing other parts in there when you're playing it?
I was thinking about that. I mean, there's definitely in the full recording, there's strings that come in there. As far as other guitar parts, I mean, part of it is I like the minimalism. Part of it is I'm not very good at guitar. So there's only so much I can do there. But yeah, I think I kind of just wanted the almost like a really stark atmosphere to it. And or at least that's what I say I wanted, because that's how it ended up being.
Like, yeah, that was the intention the whole time.
Yeah.
Are you writing the string parts for Sarah, or at least giving her what to play, or is she coming into it going, here's a canvas, let me paint it?
She was on a few other tracks. I guess she mostly wrote her own. I kind of had an idea, I think, on maybe one or two of the tracks, but she came with ideas, and she put down some like really good stuff, some good layering, and I'm really excited to have her on it, because she's a great violinist.
And where do you know her from?
I know her from, she played with Jeff Brown in The New Black, and I think, I could be wrong, but I think the first time I met her was when I played with them at Mainstage in Rogers Park. And then her and Eric, who make up Led Astray, he plays guitar, actually played at our wedding.
Oh, wow.
During the ceremony itself. So, yeah, ever since, I mean, any opportunity to get some strings in there, I would call her.
Sure, yeah. Networking in Chicago seems fairly easy, because there's almost like a blue collar mentality to musicians, at least like in the caliber of people booking their own shows and doing the DIY thing. I feel like there's a camaraderie there. Has that been your experience too? Are people pretty easy to talk to and get along with? And
I would say definitely. Yeah, especially, well, I mean, I don't know my experiences with like other cities' musicians, but Chicago is great for that. I feel like that's really the one thing between a marriage and like having a band and doing solo stuff that I don't feel like I network probably nearly as much as I should. I feel like I know all these bands just because I happen to be on a bill with them, and then I keep in touch with them. But yeah, it's you could go out any night in Chicago and meet someone new who's not only like a fantastic musician, but also unbelievably like friendly. It's easy if you like take the time to do it.
Yeah.
But from like even from my perspective, I'm certainly like pretty introverted and have like worked to be like less that way over time. But even as somebody like not like openly like warm or friendly, it's not that hard.
I think that's been my experience too, or like I go to a concert or an open mic or something and I'm really interested in hearing what's going on, knowing that I'm surrounded by musicians that like I should probably get to know. And that's why like I really liked smoking, was because you had a chance to like go outside and
smoking
and talk
is the best
people.
for that.
But I've since quit, and it's like it's really weird realizing how big of a part that played just in like meeting people. And now trying to like squeeze in conversations between sets and like not trying to be the dick who's like talking over the person singing and stuff. It's a little more complicated.
Yeah, it is tough to find a way in. But I mean, once you do get talking to somebody, it's been, I find, pretty easy. I think the best ways to do it are like not just open mics, but like singer-songwriter circles. Especially like I do I've done his a few times at Cubby Bear. And like that's a great opportunity to meet musicians because you're all 4 or 5 of you are on the stage at the same time, and so you're already kind of interacting. And Murr also does like a really good job of kind of like setting up that sort of atmosphere where you would. So I don't know, it depends. Some open mics are easier than others. It also depends on like the mood I'm in too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely can be done.
Social media. Are you pretty active on Facebook, Twitter, all those?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Facebook. I don't know if I'm using it effectively, and Facebook seems less effective than it used to be.
I've noticed that too. It's really like, especially you have a music page, right?
Right.
It shows you how, like your post reach, how many people have actually like seen your post and whatever when you put something up there, and the number seems really low.
It is
every time.
And I think that they've been like slowly changing their algorithm so that it is that way unless you like pay for it. So I mean, that aspect of it is hard. I don't use Twitter as much as I probably should, and I haven't gotten on like Instagram or Tumblr. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's too many of them.
The myriad other sites that are out there, and more popping up every day. And there's like Reverb Nation, Bandcamp.
Reverb Nation.
Which the ranking system on there.
That is like the worst. People get so excited
about.
That is the worst thing for musicians ever. Like I'm the number 11th ranked acoustic singer-songwriter in the Elgin, Illinois area. Like that doesn't even mean anything because you go to the top of the rankings for any of them, and I don't know who they are.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten into, like, I have a Reverb Nation page. I have a Bandcamp page just to be able to like sell digital copies of my album. But like,
yeah, Bandcamp I love definitely for like, it looks great. It like looks better than SoundCloud, so I like it for that, and it's good for like selling online. And then Reverb Nation is good for like electronic press kits, I guess. But in terms of how that site normally functions, I like cannot stand it.
Do you think that social media is integral to being a musician?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it really works for some people. But I feel like sometimes I get like so involved in it. Like if I'm taking a bunch of time to think of like a creative way to word some Facebook post or something like that, then I'm wondering if it might not be more effective to actually just try to meet 1 or 2 people.
I always read these posts where, you know, more successful artists say, you know, social media is great, but it's kind of lazy and you need to get out there and, you know, pass out flyers and do all that. But like, I don't know anybody that's doing that. So I don't know like how realistic that is, you know, aside from like at an open mic night, you mentioned like, hey, I've got a show coming up here and I've got some flyers over here for it.
Yeah.
I just wonder like if there is a way to reach people that's more effective, or if it's all just sort of spam where you're just going to go to shows to see your friends.
Yeah, that happens too. I mean, I think I don't really know how to answer that question because I'm not sure how to get a fan base, but I mean, I've found just playing as much as possible open mics or songwriter nights or something like that is more effective than like Facebook blasting. It definitely works for some people.
Let's take a listen to your last song you played tonight. This one's called Guns.
I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Little Kyle thinks he needs a gun. States that he's a patriot but wants it just for fun. He runs his mouth off at the bar for every night, and he wants a little buddy to help him win them fights. Despite a sick pickup truck, he ain't picking up much. Ladies don't get him, no, he's just too tough. So he strokes it every night, cause that's all he's got now. The only way he's getting brain is click, click, pow. Guns, 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 guns. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Guns, 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 guns. Little punks paranoid, they can't get it up. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Little Brandon thinks he needs a gun. Says it's for protection for his wife and son. Kids just two, still he keeps it out of reach. Is that responsible gun owner oxymoron preach? The missus likes it adds a little excitement till she puts it in her purse in case she feels a little frightened. I have to buy some groceries, son, and towing difficult. When she gets distracted just a second, he gets it out. Guns, 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 guns. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Guns, 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 guns. Little punks paranoid, they can't get it up. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. And you can get that piece if you can't get that deep. Guns, 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 guns. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Guns, 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 guns. Little punks paranoid, they can't get it up. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one. Guns, 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 guns. Little punks mortified, they can't get it up. I don't know what it takes for you to need a gun, but my piece works fine, so I won't get one.
What's this one about?
This one's about guns. I guess I'm not pro guns. So I wrote this song. I think I wanted to put an angle on it that I haven't heard a lot, which is I guess relating gun ownership to sexual ability, which is sort of a stretch, but you know, people do that when they say like a guy in his midlife crisis buys like a Lamborghini or something like that. Mm-hmm. But no one equates that with gun ownership, which I don't know if it's they're afraid of being shot, which is probably a real fear. but people who are like against the NRA I don't feel like in their arguments they tend to go for the jugular, which is weird because pro NRA people definitely do. Mm-hmm. And so I think they're seen as like weaker that way, which is, I mean, it shouldn't be that way. Mm-hmm. So I wrote the song, I recorded it. The drummer I recorded with it is actually pro guns, and I told him ahead of time what the song was, and that he didn't have to record it if he didn't want to, but he did anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't fit with any of my other recordings. Like, it's not I don't have an album of anti-gun songs. It's just this. And then nothing else is like even political. But I don't know. I've been humming the song for a long time in my head, probably for the last year and a half. And probably fueled by the Newtown shootings. But yeah, I feel like there's just not that many voices really even being like inflammatory in the anti-direction. And there should be.
And especially in a city like Chicago where it is such a problem.
Right.
So I'd say you didn't grow up with guns and hunting and going to the shooting range.
No. We had a gun. We had a rifle. I never have been hunting. I've shot it a couple of times. And I've never been to a real shooting range. But yeah, I think the thing that surprised me about shooting a rifle, I was preparing for like some kind of kickback, which didn't really come, but I was not prepared for how deafeningly loud it was. I think my ears were ringing for like the next couple of days. And I think, well, I wouldn't say I get it, but I understand that people, when they fire a gun and they feel like that level of power, then it does something to some people. But I think it's an issue of some people just really, really like guns. And
in the same way that people like really like cars.
And like they want to make it something like more meaningful than I think it really is. And that's why, I don't know, some people will just defend it to the death.
You can almost see guns as an outlet, as a way of controlling a situation where, you know, especially in the case of like people that get them for protection, or, you know, whether it be from Obama or from, you know, some guy breaking into their home.
Yeah, isn't that so weird that when Obama is elected or reelected, gun sales go through the roof?
Yeah, it was really, and then I mean, you had people that like legitimately thought that people were going to show up and be like, "Give me your guns."
No, I mean,
we're
like,
going to claim these back.
Clinton was way more effective at getting rid of guns than, I mean, not that Obama hasn't kind of tried, but like,
yeah, but now
you can't even
you're talking like statistics and facts, and we're not interested in that.
No, you can't even get rid of like semi-automatic rifles. I mean, no one's going to take your handgun ever.
Yeah, it's such a weird mentality.
Hunting is fine. I mean, I eat animals. I'm
Right.
not like,
Right.
I'm not against that. But then there's also like the question of like, what weapons are you using to hunt? And yeah, I don't know. I think there's like some line in there, and we've gone way past it. I don't know what it would take to like scale back, even getting like effective background checks in there. Mm-hmm. When I was writing that song, I just wanted to be as inflammatory as possible, and like unabashedly so, because why not? You don't have to take the high road in this argument.
The feel of the song, it's got almost like a. I mean, you rap through it.
Yeah, it's kind of the only song I'm recording on this new one that like sort of has rap in it. So I'm glad to have like a little bit of that left over from, because rap was kind of more the theme of like a lot of my early songwriting. I don't know if it's because, I mean, I like rap, and it's also the easiest to produce if you have like, you know, a small setup. But I mean, now I use hip hop mostly just with the outlet with 8090, the hip hop duo. When I was recording the vocals, it kind of came out that way. It's too fast to really kind of sing softer. So it comes out sounding pretty much like rap.
And talk about 8090. How did that project start?
That started, I saw my friend Seth Williams, who's the other half of 8090. He was performing live with another band I knew, Jackpot Donnie. This is probably 2008, 7 or 8. And I had been producing a lot of hip-hop beats for a while, many of which have gone unused. So we connected there, and I started producing some of his stuff, an album that he did. And then eventually we just produced an album together where we both did lyrics. And that original album we called AMP. It was short for Adele Mayer Project, which... the whole album had samples either from an Adele song or from a John Mayer song, which Seth's idea. Seth is a huge John Mayer fan, which I never totally understood. I have nothing against John Mayer, but he wanted to do the project initially with just John Mayer. I was like, I'll make the beats, but I'm going to do Adele as well. Because I thought her voice lended really well to doing some like hip hop samples. So we did that, released it for free, because otherwise I think we get sued. And then we did another album called Work Music, which was just like hip hop songs based on like the 9-to-5 grind, which was totally Seth's idea. And like he had a great point that most hip hop acts don't talk about that at all. And it's not like a lot of, musicians, whether they're mildly successful or not, have to have like a daytime job. And people don't talk about it that much, especially in hip hop. So we did that.
I'm seeing a trend of you kind of looking at things in an almost obvious perspective, but different. Like it's stuff that like the gun perspective and the work album. It's things that we should all be relating to and writing about, but not a lot of people are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I try to do. Again,
is it conscious? Are you going into projects going like, I'm going to do this because it's different? Or when it's done, do you look at it and go, oh, it's kind of different?
I don't think I consciously do that often, except for Guns is very conscious. Mm-hmm. That wasn't like a song I started writing about something else. Like it was like, this is going to be about that. And then I constructed it that way. I'd say generally I don't have like such a firm like theme in mind. I have, especially with the hip hop group, liked writing in themes, whether it's like a specific set of samples or like a specific theme in mind, because it helps narrow my focus, which I think makes lyric writing a lot easier, as long as it's not like putting me in such a tiny box. Otherwise, it's, especially in rap, it's hard to be like, write a rap. Like, okay.
Well, you get the guys that get up on stage to freestyle. It's like, all right, give me 2 themes and a name.
Yeah, no, I cannot freestyle. Seth doesn't like doing it either. I mean, we definitely like see ourselves as writers. But yeah, we have written together, and like when we've struggled to write together is when we just had like nothing to jump off from.
And when that happens, either in this project or just writing your own stuff, when you hit that writer's block where you're just sort of stuck, is there something that gets you out of it, that you're like a go-to trick?
I don't have a go-to trick, but I feel like for myself, sometimes I'll just, if I'm trying to write a hip-hop song and I have the beat and I might even have the chorus, and then I'm trying to like write the verse, which can be a difficult position to be in because I might feel like the verse has to be like really specific. A lot of times I'll just, go play piano or go play guitar and not really worry about that so much and get kind of... So I feel like there's so many different ways to write songs. Not that I'm necessarily going to get a song idea from just approaching it from a different way, but at least take my mind off it for a little bit. And then eventually I come back to it, and if I'm still stuck, then that's when I start trying to do like the power through, and then you write some like kind of bad lines and then maybe go back and fix them.
Are you more likely to throw away a song that's not working, or do you keep plugging at it until you get it to a place where you like it?
I usually keep plugging at it. I've definitely thrown away some songs, but I'm not great on like the quality control front, especially like early in my, like I recorded and put out everything. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like have half songs that I've thrown away. I don't think I've ever like completely finished a song and then been like, oh, that's not good. I hope like when I get to that point that I'm just like, okay, well, this is good enough to the point where I feel like I could finish writing it. Maybe there's some tweaking to do, and maybe it needs a bridge, or there's some other little things I can do here to get it to the standard I want it to be at. But yeah, I'm not one to usually just like throw something away.
Well, I really like the songs you played tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing your band, hopefully, at Beat Kitchen if I can make the show. Yeah,
I definitely do. It's a weird early show. It's 3 bands. She Rides Tigers is opening at 6:30. Then Magatha Tristy, and then us, and the whole night ends at 9. And then I think they turn the bar over and then do like another set later.
It actually kind of works out. Like I feel like I turn down more shows because I have stuff going on the next morning.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we have a lot of late shows. Even when I'm like trying to negotiate now that they're asking if we can play at 11:30 instead of 10:30, and I don't really want to. But yeah, so we're playing early, which is we haven't gotten much of an opportunity to do in a while. So hopefully that helps us bring out also like some people from the suburbs and get maybe an older crowd, but that's fine.
So after the Beat Kitchen show, you're going to keep working on your album.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea of when that's going to be done?
I don't know for sure. I'm definitely taking my time recording it. It's most of the way done, but I don't know how long this like final stretch is going to take. I would like to put it out probably in the fall, because I'm definitely focusing this spring and summer on the band.
So you're going to do a lot more just touring, playing shows as much as you can.
Probably. Well, I don't know about touring, but we're definitely got like a few shows lined up. Yeah, we're pushing our EP as much as we can, which we finished in December.
That's really good. Where did you record that?
We recorded it at Populist Recording, which is also where I'm recording my solo LP.
And that's in Wheaton?
Yeah, it's in Wheaton. The guy's name is James Scott, and he's also the bassist of She Rides Tigers, who was playing with us at Beat Kitchen.
More of that networking going on there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was my drummer who found him at an open mic in Lisle, in a place called Mullins, and I've been out there a couple of times. And yeah, he's been great to record with. He's really fast, really professional, and he's just a cool guy. I'd highly recommend him to anyone else who's looking to record and is able to get out to the suburbs.
Is that a commercial space or is it a home studio?
It's a home, but it's the whole basement. That's a recording studio. He has really good equipment, and the rates are also like the best I've found. I mean, they're probably like some cheaper ones, but in terms of like the quality being like really phenomenal.
Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, I listened to it just a couple of times through over the past couple of days, and just, I mean, it sounds like a professional recording. You know, I mean, I guess that speaks to the quality of the engineer, but also just like how accessible professional gear is now. Yeah,
no, it really is. I would like to get some more of it myself. But Populist Recording, James Scott, he's really good. And I'd recommend him for any Chicago musician who's thinking about recording soon.
And what else do you have planned for the year?
A few more shows with the band. And then outside of that, I've been doing things here and there to actually try to like improve my own ability live. I'm taking vocal lessons over at Old Town. And I think I'm going to look into taking some guitar lessons as well.
Private lessons or group lessons?
Private. Well, the guitar I could do group. That'd be fine. The vocal lessons have been private, though. That was my wife. She got me that as a birthday gift. I don't know. She was trying to send me a message.
That's a subtle hint. When somebody hands you a mint, just take it.
So this is what I got you. No. But it's been great because it's just like mechanically like learning ways to like sing your best. I mean, my range is probably not going to change all that much, but making sure I like get the best sound that I can get.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, just watching you record tonight, I mean, a lot of people come in and they have to do take after take after take of like, you know, a little 3-minute song they've been playing in their room forever. You could definitely tell when people come in that have a little bit of training or just have performed a lot, because you can just come in and nail a song.
Or like your standards are not that high on a take. I think Guns I didn't like totally nail, but like, yeah, it's only gonna get so good. I mean, unless I totally botch it, I'm usually fine with it.
Do you have any advice for Chicago musicians that are up and coming?
Not a ton of advice. I've just found that there really aren't a lot of shortcuts. So if like you want to be successful and gain like a fan base and friends, like you have to go out and you have to like see other people, and it's a very supportive scene. There's definitely, you know, room in it for more musicians, I think, but it takes an effort to be a part of it.
Do you think people are more successful putting in time or quality? In other words, do you think it's more beneficial to take time off, take lessons, and then go perform, or do you think it's beneficial to just go out and perform as much as you can?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, you want to take time to get good. At the same time, I feel like in my experience with open mics, like some of my early ones were like bad. And I think that's okay. Like you don't want to wait forever to put yourself out there. And I mean, I've seen people do that and they never put themselves out there. So at some point you have to say like, I'm good enough. You're going to have some like rough open mics and probably some bad shows too. And that's okay.
People that are interested in hearing more of your music, your band's music, where can they find you online?
Hero Monster Zero is at heromonsterzero.com. Whole thing is spelled out. And that's a direct link to our Bandcamp site where we have our 6-song EP, which is free to download, or I guess it's pay as much as you want. So if you want to pay $0, it is free. And then my hip hop group 8090 is at 8090. That is not spelled out. Those are numbers. Music.com. And that has a direct link to our 3 releases. And then I'm at andymetz.com. And I very recently switched my Facebook page from Andy Metz Music to just Andy Metz, because I realized not too many people put music after their name on their Facebook pages anymore.
It's those little
getting with the
times.
times.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Andy, thanks so much for sitting down, playing some of your tunes tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, podcast listeners. Did you click a link to listen to this episode? It's 2015. You can automate that. Just go to the iTunes store, click subscribe, and every 2 weeks you'll have a new episode downloaded directly to your phone. Then while you're at the iTunes store, leave a review and a rating. Let the iTunes overlords know how much you love or hate this podcast. Are you a Chicago musician interested in lending your stories and songs to this podcast? Shoot me an email at chicagosinger-songwriter-podcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook, just search for Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast, and follow me on Twitter, ShySS Podcast. Did you know that there's a longer version of the interview you just listened to, with more details, more stories, more awkward pauses? Just go to the SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/ShySS Podcast, and click the links that say full interview. And above all, keep listening, keep writing, and keep playing Chicago.